we're going to be talking about the foundations of self-confidence, like the absolute core of what it takes to build self-confidence and establish it, because it's not some mystical thing that only the few in the world have. Anybody can do it. Also today, we are going to be highlighting something special going on for Lucia here at HAPS. We're going to post up the link, and we're trying to support Lucia. She's going through a medical thing, and she needs our support. So I'm going to put a link up in the chat thing. So if you're feeling kind enough to kind of go and support that cause, please do so. Typically, you guys have seen me so far. I don't really ask for support. I don't get on here and I don't ask for people to send me money. I don't ask for support. But if you could please show your support, share the link, let people know, maybe share it on some social media, whatever it is. Let's show some support for Lucia and let's help her get the help that she needs. Thanks. So I'm going to hit the link up now. That will go, well, it's working on the preview. Once it gets the preview going, I'll hit the link up in the chat. So you guys will have that up. Oh, there it goes. Okay, that aside, I'm John. Welcome to week 3, and I appreciate it. We got Mr. Colin Porter with us today, and he's going to help us out going through this topic, so it's not just me talking to the screen. So there we go. Hi, Colin.
How's it going, John?
It's going, buddy. How are you?
Do we have audio? Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. As you say, we need to raise as much support as we can for Lucia. And the link is in the box there. The background didn't work out rather well because maybe it's the way we're in the... Can we go widescreen? Do we have the ability to go widescreen, John?
Give me 1 second.
See if that works.
There we go.
There you go. There we go.
There we are.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, it was a little last minute couple of things trying to get that picture design, so I didn't really think about how it fit into the HAPS window too well. But hey, we got there, didn't we?
We did. Slowly but surely. A bit of teamwork on the job.
That's right. So anyway, this week, do you want to open it up, Colin, what we're talking about?
We are talking about attitude. Attitude is like first on the list. I mean, we've got a couple of notes that we've put together, a couple of bullet points there. So we might have to just work through these bullet points. But as John rightly said, at the end, we want to just really push for people to click that link and help Lucia.
That's right. That's
right. So let's have a look, see what we've got. We're talking about attitude. So what is attitude? What is attitude? Attitude is your perception of something, but it's not just your perception, because when you have an attitude to work or an attitude to school, you know, it's how you're thinking about it. But not only that, attitude was once described as a compilation of your thoughts, your feelings and actions. So it's how you probably think about a situation. It's going to involve how you feel about that particular situation. And it's going to directly impact how you behave towards or in that situation.
Right.
So, John, you're tying this into self-confidence. So just open that up, because obviously, as we've said before, we both approach topics from different directions, but we always meet in the middle.
Yep. So the core of this, and this is like any other, you know, mindset guru, NLP, whatever thing. There's always a foundation of which everything else is kind of built and established on. So as long as the foundation is solid and works, everything else has a solid standing to build on it and to grow with. So this today, I wanted to get to this earlier than week 3, but week 3 is fairly early when you consider I have 100 of these posts to do. So
yeah,
week 3 is really pretty early. So I'm going to mark that in a little win column here. Okay. Tick that in the win column. Anyway, so what I mean by this is the expectations that you have when you come into doing something will directly affect, maybe not necessarily produce, but will directly affect the results that you do produce. Okay, so what I mean by that is, if you come into something with a great attitude, then the results that you produce at the end will be based on that great attitude, right? You'll feel better about it. The results will be more positive, whatever it is. Okay. If you approach the same situation, but with a negative or just a bad attitude, then you're going to produce negative or bad results, right? It's this, then that. It's if this, then that. That's how the system works. So
like
that's
a
what we're talking about.
self-fulfilling prophecy. Is that what we're saying? Like a self-fulfilling
Yeah.
prophecy?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a good way to say it. If you come into it with, okay, let me give you an example. So say you want to accomplish a goal, whatever it is, right? You want to write a book. We'll use a book as an example. And you think, oh, you know what? I can't write a book. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And even if I did know what I was doing, who would want to read something from me? Right? If you come at that with that attitude, not only one, will you most likely never finish the goal and never actually achieve it, but two, even if you did, you're going to feel so down on the thing. Even if you finished off, you likely would never go through publishing. And if you did go through publishing, you would constantly be saying, my book is no good. Nobody wants to read my book. It would just be this constant thing. And then when people don't buy the book, that negative influence that your attitude had towards the book and your writing style that produced people not wanting to buy the book, that people not buying the book then goes to justify you to have an even more negative thing. And that just reinforces your negative thing. So it's a cycle. It's a pattern.
What you're doing in effect, as we just said, John and I approach things from different directions.
Mm-hmm.
I relate to everything being stored as a reference in the mind.
Mm-hmm.
So your attitude is a direct correlation with those references.
Right.
So we've just said that your attitude is a confluence of your thoughts, your feelings, and actions. It's directly tied in to your belief system.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got that belief system that I can do this book, you're obviously going to do it, because whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're absolutely right. I think it was Napoleon Hill said that. So if you're going to make any changes, we're talking about changing attitude, changing beliefs, changing references. What I also want to say, if we look in the dictionary there, your attitude is defined as your manner, disposition, your feeling or position on something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the people that are successful in life, they've got a different perspective than the people who are not so successful. And I think that all ties back to belief and their attitude. If they think, right, it's their outlook, their expectation, that's what I'm looking for, John.
Okay.
If they're expecting that this is going to pan out. So, attitude and expectation, so much related to mindset, all ties back into itself. So you've got attitude. Mm-hmm. You've got your perception, how you're looking at something. You've got your behavior, which is a direct descendant, let's say, of your references, your beliefs, and your feelings, and they're all tied together. Right. So the people that are successful know this. So the expectation, this is where we were going, the expectation that they hold is that it's going to be working out in their favor. So we're talking about whether you like smack bang in the middle, walking that razor's edge where you're focused and it could go either way.
Yep.
Or whether your belief system ties down to the optimist side, or whether it ties down to the pessimistic side.
Right.
So that's how it works.
Right. And like I was saying, it is also a cycle. So whatever attitude you start with, so whatever project it is, right? Like, I don't know, whatever example you want to come up with, right? So any kind of scenario, maybe it's you don't want to go into a social situation. You don't want to go to a bar and talk to that I don't know, whatever, the hot guy at the end of the bar. You don't want to be the chick that goes and talks to the hot guy at the end of the bar, because what if he rejects you, right? Well, I mean, that's your bad attitude before you ever even started. You've built a scenario in your head that this guy's already going to reject you before he actually does. So the body language that you put out when you do go talk to him is going to put him off. And then that's going to produce that result. You're basically inviting that guy to have that reaction through your body language, through your voice tonality, because you've decided that it's not going to work. Okay? You decided that. Before you got in the situation, you predicted that outcome. You self-fulfilled that prophecy. You decided. So everything about your body is saying, I'm unapproachable. Like, don't even bother to talk to me. And then when that guy does reject you, you tell yourself, see, I told you so. See, I told you so. And then the next time you go talk to somebody, it's going to be even worse because you're going to base it off of that experience, off of that reference. And so the next time is going to be even more negative. It's going to be even more toxic. And then the self-fulfilling prophecy cycle continues, and it just escalates.
Yeah,
so
but it's not even your choice at the end of the day, because all you got to do is go through the cycle a couple of times,
mm-hmm.
and your brain, your mind, it will remember that. And because it's always trying to look after you, as we know, we're moving consistently away from pain towards pleasure. So
Right.
if you went up to that person in the bar and you got rejected just once, your brain is going to remember that. The next time you go into that situation, it's going to say,
Mm-hmm.
remember what happened last time?
Yep.
But the thing is, if you put a new idea in there and say, what if, it may be different this time? Maybe is a great word to use here.
Yeah.
Maybe it's going to be okay this time. Maybe it's going to be okay. And if you put that new behavior out there and that person says, yes, I'll go for a drink with you, John, or yes, I'll go for a drink with you, Carl.
Right.
Next time, if let's assume worst case scenario, because we're sort of flying by the seat of our pants here. We've asked this person, they've gone for a drink with us. It didn't work out for whatever. They had BO, they had bad breath, they had curled up toenails, and they had a pet donkey or something. It didn't work out. But at least next time, humor's good. And that's easy for you to say. So next time you go into that bar, you are more likely to ask that person, because you've already got that reference in there that says, I asked this first person, they said yes. So this person probably will as well.
Now, now that we've brought up the whole thing about talking to someone and asking them out for a drink, whatever, I do want to kind of jump into, this is also the source of why a lot of people, when they find relationships, that they seem to constantly always be hooking up with the same negative or same toxic or the same positive or the same whatever person that they're always trying to date, right? So if you see someone that constantly has the next, or constantly fighting with their girlfriends or boyfriends, they're always breaking up. They date for 3 months and they're broke up, right? And it's the same pattern over and over and over again.
Yeah.
This is the explanation for why.
It's the same person, but in a different body, and you keep looking.
Right.
Without realizing.
You're looking for the same pattern in the other person. That's the problem, right? And when you find the same pattern and then that next person treats you like shit or it breaks up or whatever, you, in your mind, even subconsciously, you then decide and you say, hey, I told you so. See, I told you so. And it just, all it does is just reinforces what's happening.
Yeah. I mean, it's a well-known fact that to a huge extent, to a massive extent, your environment tends to become a mirror of your attitude. I think it was James. In fact, I know it was James Allen, because I put this quote down before we started. James Allen, he was quoted as saying, "We think in secret, and it comes to pass. The environment is but our looking glass." And it's so true, so true. This is why, as John just rightly said, we keep asking the same person out, just in a different body. But it's the same personality, the same traits we're looking for, because we're familiar with it.
Mm-hmm. All you're doing is asking out the same person behind a different set of eyes. That's it. Right? So, and Einstein, I mean, everybody knows the Einstein quote, insanity is doing the same thing you've been doing, but expecting different results. This is why people feel like they're going crazy when they're trying to date the wrong people constantly. Right? And it's not that they're intentionally and willfully going out and deciding that, hey, I'm going to go and date the wrong freaking person again, right? That is not what we're saying. A lot of this is kind of subconscious, and until you are cognizant and aware of these things, you're just going to repeat and recycle the patterns. That's it, right? Now, I mean, we have talked a bit about the bad, the kind of downsides, and I feel like there's a lot of people that could pretty easily identify and pretty easily say, hey, I looking back, I think I can see where I've done that before. But can we talk a little bit about the positive aspects of this, Colin?
Yeah, of course we can. Of course we can. I mean, I sort of touched on it briefly. The people that are successful, 9 times out of 10 are the people that have done the homework, and they realize that sometimes we have these thoughts that bubble up, but we're not actually choosing those thoughts. I mean, a great example that I was given once, if you're having a really bad day and you're feeling like crap, the question I was asked is, if you could choose, would you choose to feel like crap? And the answer is obviously no, of course you wouldn't.
Of course.
Therefore, you're not choosing, you're running on automatic pilot.
Right.
And nobody's saying it's always that simple that you can just choose in a situation to behave a different way. We're not saying it's that easy. We're saying it's simple, it's logical, it's understandable, but it's not necessarily easy. Because if you were choosing, you would feel better. Therefore, you're on automatic pilot. So,
right.
As John rightly said, he was tying this into self-confidence. So sometimes it's a case of choosing the thought that you want to be thinking, experiencing that feeling that you want to feel. This is why a lot of people will get you to step into Maxwell Maltz called it the theater of your mind. Once you start to create that new reference, you picture yourself walking into that restaurant or into that bar, and you picture yourself asking that person, to use that example again, you picture them saying yes. Now, the irony of this is, if you do that a few times, it's not a case of imagination, because once you've created that reference point, it is now a memory. So all you got to do is keep reinforcing that memory. And that is one of the steps, I think John will agree with me, towards building self-confidence in a given situation.
100%. 100%. It's that whole repetition. It never makes perfect, but it makes better, right? I mean, you can always be better, but repetition will make it better. It's never going to be perfect. I think the core difference, and I've known a lot of successful people and a lot of not so successful people, and I think the core difference is that the most successful people that I know were aware, or at least aware to some degree, of how their expectations affected their reality. So they willfully would go into a scenario, even if it was super difficult, even if they've never done it before, didn't matter. They would come into that situation and they would say, why not? Or maybe it could work, right? Yeah. Maybe they didn't come in with this whole, I'm absolutely going to be able to handle it. They came in with this, what if it does work mentality?
Yeah. They had the possibility in there.
Exactly. And like in my book, one of the quotes that I put in there was that confidence is not the same. It doesn't come from having done something before. Confidence is simply knowing that you are capable of doing something or handling something. That's simply what confidence is. It's just knowing that you're capable of it. If you've already done it before, that's experience. That's a different thing. That's not confidence, that's experience. What we're talking about today is confidence.
Yeah, there's a difference between confidence, as John's saying, and certainty.
Right.
The problem is people, the self-help gurus, they all latch onto these words and they throw them about like, like this is how it is, this is set in stone.
Mm-hmm.
But confidence really, it has to be boiled down to confidence in a given situation. And that is when you have that degree of possibility. Well, it could work. There's no reason why it couldn't work. We're not saying going in and hoping. We're talking about a perspective, an attitude of this could work. There's no reason why it shouldn't work. If we go in with that attitude, and as John said, we're tying it into expectation, anticipation. There's so many different ways you could reword this. Assumption, presupposition. It's almost like if we're not careful, we're stepping into the TARDIS there. We're going into the future and seeing that guy at the bar saying, no, not interested.
Yeah, if you put the TARDIS up, Colin, we can't see it. Your video froze, at least on my end.
Yeah, my video has frozen, I believe. I think. Yes, it has.
Yeah, it froze a little bit ago, I guess. But at least it froze on Lucia's picture, so that helps.
Are we back?
Nope.
We're not back. Let me...
little technical difficulties, folks. And I do apologize for the little bit of a later start today. We did have some technical difficulties before. As you can see, I was trying to do something new, and I couldn't quite get between as well, too, of course.
Are we back in?
Yeah, you're back in, but it's not working.
We're back in.
You're in, but there's no video. It's okay, I think. Oh, okay. Looks like I'm on myself again. So, yeah, like I said, I tried to get it to be, something. I was trying to bring green back, have a little fun with that. But, yeah, so anyway, enough of the mental tangent here. The expectations that you have coming into a scenario directly affects the results that you produce. It affects, so your expectations affect you, and then you affect your results. That's how it kind of downloads that way. And then when you produce your results, you use that as a justification for why you had that expectation in the first place, which then makes your expectation worse or better for the next time. It increases that expectation. So the goal here is simply to be aware of this and cognizant of it and saying, hey, I can intentionally decide that I am going to be more positive about the thing that I'm about to start. That really simply, that's all we're talking about today. So it's not, a huge broadcast. It's not a very lengthy thing. It's a simple concept. Whatever you're about to do, don't self-sabotage. Just decide that you can do it. You can talk to this person. If this person rejects you, you can handle that. That's okay. Basically, that's pretty much it. And again, this is essentially, welcome back, Mr. Porter.
Thank you.
Let's put you back in the number one spot, get you back up top here. There we go.
Technical hitch.
So this is the absolute foundations of being more confident. If you can get this right, the rest of that house of self-confidence is much easier to build. You're not building a house on sand anymore. You have this bedrock, concrete and stone foundation that's not going anywhere, right? This thing is made out of vibranium. Right? Vibranium.
I missed the point that you made. What did you just say while I was away?
Oh, we were just saying that you smell bad and your mama dresses you funny. All that.
Well, we know this, but
no, I was just
saying about the foundation and the bedrock.
I was just bringing it back that it comes down to, it's just, again, all we're talking about is just making an intentional, positive decision. When you're about to start something new, it doesn't matter what it is, right? A great example, I was gonna teach my wife how to drive a stick shift. Okay.
For
her to be successful at that, would require of her from the beginning if she wants to be successful at a faster rate of time and just be better at the task in the long run. At the beginning, she needs to say, I can do this. I can figure this out. I can handle this. Instead of saying, I don't know if I can handle driving a stick. I don't think I can do that. Blah, blah, blah. These two mindsets will produce vastly different results. And all we're suggesting is to make a cognizant and aware decision about which one of these different mindsets you're trying to do with whatever you decide to do.
Yeah. As long as you say it's possible, that's half the battle. It's possible. If you start with it's possible, you're 9/10 the way there.
That's right. That's right. We're not talking about rocket science. I'm not trying. Well, I mean, yes, it would be nice to be the next Tony Robbins, of course. But like, I'm a huge fan of the keep it simple, stupid method, right? And that's all I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting that we take a complex topic, how your mindset and your attitude produces results, and how it affects your life in a billion facets every day, in everything that you do, and every person you interact with, and everything you do. I'm suggesting we take this incredibly complex and diverse piece of information and we chunk it down. And we just say, hey, here is the nut and bolt of it. Like here's the foundation. This is the core. Focus on this. The rest of the pieces, if you focus on this, everything else will take care of itself automatically. Hey, John Novico?
Yeah.
I know I said that wrong. I'm so sorry. Hey, John.
Welcome, John. You broke my pattern again, John.
But yeah, buddy, that's all I'm talking about. Is let's focus on the core of it and let the rest of it take care of itself automatically, because we're focusing on just the core of it. That's all I'm suggesting.
That's where I was going. Once you've got the design, then build into it the desire, strengthen that desire, and then just put the action. So they're the 3 steps. Design what it is that you want to be able to do. Then bring in the possibility, and then just keep going over it again and again and again to the point where you've moved from possible to necessary. Once you get to necessary, then you'll keep going. That will give you the persistence that you need to follow through with your action, with your activity, to the point where you've now passed your driving test.
That's right. Now, please bear in mind that what Colin and I are talking about with this is the step. This is what exists before you're trying to envision the goal and envision how you want to be, blah, blah, blah. This is all the stuff that happens in the background before you do all those steps, right? Of envisioning how you want the goal to be and where you want to be in 20 years and what's your why and blah, blah, blah. Like, all that stuff is goalposts down the road from here. Okay. And if I may add, this is the foundation that entire road is paved on. Right. So if you don't get this right, you're not even staying on the road.
Once you can understand that everything boils down to your attitude, and as we said a few moments ago, the environment is, to all intents and purposes, a mirror of your attitude. So if you look around you and things aren't going so well, maybe it's just a case of saying, okay, so where am I shooting myself in the foot? Not intentionally, but inadvertently. Because we self-sabotage because of our attitude. We succeed because of our attitude. Everything happens as a direct correlation of our attitude.
Yep. And then whatever happens after that, we use to validate the attitude, positive or negative. It validates it. And then once we validate it, that reinforces your attitude for when you try again. And then the cycle repeats. And then whatever results that produces, that will reinforce your attitude and then make it even stronger and over and over and over again. And this is why people can't get out of bad relationships. This is why people don't go back to school and learn a new degree. This is why people don't open that business that they want. This is the same reason why people don't pick up hobbies, or they give up on a hobby that they care about. This is at the core of all of these things. This is also at the core of why people are successful and they start a business and they work their butts off for 15 years before they catch a big break, and they never stop, right? They're relentless. This is the core of that mentality that it takes to be relentless. This is it. Okay, this is the gold nugget for everybody.
Like I say, the nuts and bolts of it. I just want to bring another quote in here from psychologist William James from Harvard University. He said, the greatest discovery of his generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes. Never a truer word spoken.
Yep, that's absolutely what it is. So, I mean, I know we've had 84 viewers here. You guys are awesome. I thank you so much for showing up to the channel. Just to kind of repeat, because we are, 31 minutes into the broadcast now. I want to repeat at the beginning. I mentioned that we do have Lucia from our HAPS team. She's one of our HAPS team. She's one of our own people. She's family, okay? She's in need of some help. So I put together a picture that Colin's got up on his green screen because my green screen clearly was not working today for the software. So whatever, we make it work. We got the link. I put the link up in the comments section. If you could find it somewhere in your heart to support her, I'm not saying you're a bad person if you don't. Everybody's got different needs and different placements in life, okay? That support could be financial. It could be just spreading the word. It can, whatever it is. It could be sharing it on a social media platform, whatever it is, okay? Colin and I are asking you to show your support and to help our Lucia. She's our HAPS team. She's family, okay? We all take care of family. That's how it is. You guys know that on these weekly broadcasts, I don't come out and say, hey, show support or hit the little donation button, support, blah, blah, blah. I don't ask for that stuff. But on this episode, we are asking you to show a little support or share or at least be aware or tell someone or put it up on your broadcast if you do a broadcast here on HAPS. Raise awareness and let's help Lucia.
Share the link.
Yeah.
If you can afford a takeout every day, because you can't bother to cook, you can afford to make a donation. That's all we're saying. It's not something trivial. It's something that's really important.
Yeah. So I just want to put that out there. We're halfway through the broadcast, whatever, we're wrapping it up, whatever it is. I just wanted to remind people that is a big focus for what's going on today in this broadcast is to do that. Hello from Reno, Let It Be. Thank you for showing up. Actually, that's one of my favorite songs. So you know what? You're awesome for having that as your name on the thing. Also, if anybody watching would like to come up and talk with me and Colin, we can bring up one or two people at a time. That way it doesn't get like overwhelming for people. And you could share stories, like we can talk about the topic, whatever. Ask questions, maybe get a little bit of clarity. Bounce some thoughts against the wall, get some help and support. I mean, we all need a little bit of help and support sometimes. So please feel free to speak up in the comments section there, and like Colin or I will invite you up, and we're happy to talk with you. I mean, yeah.
Because that's the kind of people we are. I mean, Let It Be. That's a great name. I love the name. I mean, Let It Be.
Yes, I love it too.
That's the equivalent of saying, this is not only possible, it's probable. Let it be.
That's right.
Let it happen. So
it's like almost get out of your own way.
Yes. I haven't heard that for a while, but yeah, get out of your own way. I think it was Esther Hicks. She did. There was a theme to her broadcast, to her videos, and I think it's something along the lines of "Get out of your own way." Yeah.
That's all this whole thing's suggesting is we all get in our own way. Hell, I still get in my own way. I mean, we all get in our own way. The trick is to be aware of how and why you are in your own way, not just the abstract concept of it, but the how and why of it. Let's break it down. Let's see what the pattern is, and let's disrupt the pattern, like I'm constantly doing to poor Colin for a laugh. Half the time, half the time I'm mistaken The other half of the time, I do it for a laugh.
Yeah, because we can. That's what friends do. And at the end of the day, as I say, the title of the broadcast is Expectations, the
Yep.
Key to Your Reality. And
Yep.
if you keep expecting things to go wrong, you could do a lot worse than to ask yourself, have I got proof that it always goes wrong? Has there
Right.
been a time when it didn't go wrong?
Hmm.
Because these belief systems, these attitude, these reference points, if you question them enough, they'll start to fail, they'll start to fold, start to
Oh, yeah.
collapse. And then you can put some new beliefs in there.
That's
What
right.
if it could work out? Maybe it will work out. It should work out. I'm certain that it can work out.
Yep.
I'm confident that it can work out. So many different ways of wording it. And the words that we use are powerful. They will reinforce our attitude, reinforce our beliefs. So tell yourself, this is possible. If somebody else can achieve it, I can achieve it. I can pass
That's
that
right.
driving test. I can go and ask that guy at the bar for a drink.
That's right. That's right. And there's another thing I do want to kind of bring up, and forgive me if you find it offensive. It really isn't the intent. It's just kind of an example. Okay. I grew up in a very, very religious area, and I don't need to go into what religion, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't make any difference. There is a very common theme when it comes to religious teachings, is that when you need something, when you want something, you pray and ask for it, and it shall be given, blah, 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 blah. Right? There's this, and it's a pretty common theme across like any kind of religious
Majority
system.
Yep.
Right? Doesn't matter what deity it is, or it makes no difference. What I want to point out about that in specific is this is again another example of expectations being the results that you produce. You are coming into a scenario with a mindset of want and need, and you're asking for more, right? So that's kind of where you're coming from. That's the foundation of where you're coming from. So all the results that you produce will constantly be colored with this: I want this, or I need this. I can't get by without this, right? You're never going to get to a place of abundance of I don't want to say happiness, but a place of security and abundance by coming from a place of need and want. I hope that makes sense. Like, maybe I'm talking through my hat. I don't know, but
no, not at all. I mean, I can see where you're coming from. I mean, we talk about expectation, we talk about faith, as you just rightly said. When we're looking from a religious connotation there, but expectation, faith, very similar. Certainty, and it's
Right.
all whatever creed or religion you come from, you're going to have that faith, because we don't always get the proof that we want, but we
Exactly.
still
And by no
believe
means are we bagging on faith. We are not bagging on
No,
faith,
not
religion,
at
or
all.
anything.
Not at all.
Nothing to do with that at all. There's no relation to bagging on anybody's religion or faith at all. It's just talking about a mindset. That's it.
So it's just the only reason I use the religion there is because people can relate to having faith in something that hasn't yet happened.
Yeah.
So
and, we've all played.
Yeah.
We've all played the that I need to pray for this, or we've all played this game. We've all played the thing where we go and get gas at the gas station and bought a lottery ticket and crossing the fingers and hoping. You know what I mean? We've all done it. I do, like yesterday. I bought gas and I got lottery tickets, right? And don't worry about getting lottery tickets. Don't worry, folks. I got the winner, so don't worry about that.
Damn it. I went out and bought
Saved
one.
a couple bucks. I'm the one that bought the winner. It's okay.
After all that, someone's got the winning ticket. I wish I hadn't have bothered.
Right? Like,
it's tough at the top. Yeah, it's tough at the top. It's not so good at the bottom, John. Let me tell you.
But that's my point. Like, and this is why statistically most lottery winners end up broke and bankrupt, right? Because if you're coming from a place of origin, from a foundation of need and want and like starvation and not enough, it doesn't matter what you get. Even if you get abundance, you're never going to have abundance. I hope that sinks in. It doesn't matter if you win the lotto and you're filthy rich, you're always going to have that need and want and desire, and it's never going to be enough.
it conjures up the saying that I heard a long time ago, and it went along the lines of, "From abundance, he took abundance, and still abundance remained."
Yeah.
Just throwing that one in there. I don't even know why. It's just content creation. Just ignore
Yeah,
it.
it
I'm
is.
just talking out of my hat. I'm talking out of John's hat.
You really want to talk out of my hat? I don't get my hat.
He's got the hat. Oh, not the hat. Oh, it's going so well. It's
But
going
no,
so well.
that's all we're talking about. Like, I'm not talking about rocket science. Really, genuinely, if any of this is complicated or complex, please like let me know, message me, whatever. Right, whatever it is, let me know. And I will do my best to try to break it down more. But genuinely, like the goal here, I don't want to make anybody feel like they don't understand whatever. My goal is I want to make this simple, right?
Mm.
In the things that I've taught people is that, and it's a firm belief of mine that that complication is not what the lesson brings to the student. That's the mistake that the student brings to the lesson. Okay, so we don't want to complicate this. All I'm suggesting is that it's a very simple thing. Pay attention to how you begin. Pay attention to the mindset of where you start with, because the mindset you start with colors the mindset you have at the ending.
Exactly. So if you can come from a place where you're feeling good, that's half the clue. If you're approaching something and feeling good about it, then you're on the right track.
That's
it's
right.
like you're going to that bar and going into the bar and saying, yeah, I feel good. Chances are he could say yes. I'm going to apply for that job. Chances are they can say yes. If you're feeling good, then chances are something good's going to come from it, because nothing positive ever came from a negative feeling. Nothing.
That's right.
Never did, never will, no how.
Right.
So trying to
now
punch it.
is
there
are positive uplifting stories, but
just the last bit, John. What I'm saying is that's a little bit of a hack. If you're approaching something from a position of feeling good, just look at it and ask yourself, how can I word this in a way that's going to enable me to feel good? How can I word this in a way that's going to enable me to feel good? Yes, this could work. This will probably work. Somebody else did it, so there's no reason why I can't do it. Come from a good feeling place. Right. Back to you, John. Sorry.
Exactly. Oh, I was just coming along with your point. You said nothing good comes from bad. Like, we do see like positive stories and uplifting stories of people that come out of like war-torn zones and things, they make something positive. But yes, those people came out of that horrible situation, that super bad situation, and they made something positive. Yes. But that person had a positive attitude and a positive outlook and a can-do attitude about it to produce that result, right? It wasn't the negative war zone that made that person, right? It was that person's mindset.
Viktor Frankl, prime example. He came out of the prisoner of war camp. He had friends dropping left, right, and center, relations, his family. Everybody was gone. But he was determined to get through it, because his point was, I'm going to get through this to make sure that this kind of thing never happens again. And he went on to write Man's Search for Meaning, and he did so much great work.
Yeah. It's no different than survivors of abuse when they come out and they have really uplifting and positive stories. It's no different like when I wrote my book and I came through, a whole childhood of different forms of abuse and stuff. It's no different, right? You go through things that do affect you, but then if you find a way to reframe it in a positive light, you will come out of that in a more positive way. And that's all people have done. They have these stories where you see motivational speakers when they come up on stage and the guy doesn't have any legs and he's up on the stage and he's telling his story. Like that's what it is. It came down to the mindset of coming from a positive place.
Some people have just got a natural affinity for being positive. I had another story a long time ago, because I studied so much personal development, so many of the personal development gurus. And there was this guy, he went to not trying to steer it down a religious path, but he went to church, and it was one of those churches where you have to leave your shoes outside before you go in.
Yeah.
He left his shoes outside, and he came back out, and his shoes are gone.
Okay.
Now, rather than, getting all irate and trying to berate whoever was around for not taking notice and looking after his shoes, he said, I feel guilty for being the cause of somebody taking the shoes. I'm sorry for causing somebody to come along and take the shoes. So he blamed himself rather than try to blame other person. Yeah. He made an excuse for that other person. He said that, shame on me for causing somebody else to take those shoes.
That's interesting.
Mm.
I mean, I don't know if I would support that mindset, but it is interesting. It's a different way of looking at it.
Yeah. Well, as I say, I didn't make it up. I mean, it's just something that I heard a long time ago. And when I heard it, rather than ranting and raving, this guy's taken my shoes, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dear. I've been the cause of somebody taking the shoes by leaving them there.
Oh, I think maybe what you mean, or what the guy meant, was that he was the source of putting that temptation out there.
Maybe he was the source
that someone else had to deal with.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah.
I'm going to look into that again because it's a long time. It's a lot of years ago, John, but it just conjured up that thought. So I'm going to.
Yeah.
I'm going to backtrack and find out where it was. I thought you were going to say he was grateful somebody needed the shoes and took them. Well, we can say that.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Yes, maybe he was grateful that somebody needed the shoes and he'd been able to put them there for them. Yeah. But that wasn't how I heard it. But I'm going to find out for next time because I'm sure there'll be another broadcast.
I had a friend years and years ago. We were talking about old stories. I had a friend years ago that this was back in the cassette tape era.
Oh, wow. Yes. Yeah.
He had one of these fancy cassette players that came in his car. Well, it didn't come in the car. I think he bought it aftermarket and put it in his car. Anyway, this was back before the thump days in the trunks of the kids with the cars.
I still don't understand that.
This is before that. Yeah. Anyway, he was real big into listening to things like Les Brown tapes and stuff. And so I freaking love Les Brown. Out of all the motivational speakers, he's my favorite. I would do anything to meet that guy and hang out with him for a day. But anyway, somebody in the middle of the night one night, I forget where he was, somebody had broke his window on his car and stole his whole radio out of his car. The whole thing. They pulled out, they ripped the wires, and they took off with the thing. It was gone. And
not so good.
And bless him, he never once got upset about the radio. He always said, hey, you know what? At least that person's probably listening to Les Brown now.
Exactly. Yeah. We can any situation. It's only a knee-jerk reaction that with that sense of loss.
Yeah.
But when you're thinking about somebody else, they're going to gain from the experience.
Yeah.
Every time.
I thought, well, that's a way to look at it, buddy. I mean, he's he got your radio, but he got your tape too.
Yeah. But at least it was Les Brown and not Chubby Brown.
That's right. I don't know. It was good stuff. I always thought he was kind of, I don't know, mental or something thought about that. But then, later in life, I'd go back and I'd think about that and it just, oh, you know what? He's right. I couldn't understand it then, but he was right. I don't know. I thought it was a cool story.
I think it was Les Brown tells the tale of going with his mother, his adopted mother, to do the cleaning and the chores for somebody's house.
Mm-hmm.
And he would clean the owner of the house. He would clean his shoes for him.
Okay.
And he said he only did it so he could go in there to listen to the motivation tapes that the owner of the house was listening to. So he'd sit there polishing the shoes.
Nice.
Great stuff. Huh? Yeah. Full of little nuggets like that.
But again, that even though maybe at the time he wasn't aware of it, but again, that circles back to the point of this broadcast is that, even little kid Les Brown at the time was thinking, I'm willing to go do the crap job and shine this man's shoes so that I can hear these tapes because that makes me feel good. I want to hear these tapes. I feel good. I feel better about myself when I hear these tapes, and it edifies me, right?
Yeah.
Now, again, like most of these broadcasts, just kind of a heads up, folks, most of these broadcasts that I'm doing and Colin has graciously agreed to come on and do with me, most of these are going to be things that you probably maybe already know, right? These are just things that we're just going to be like edifying to you and reminding you to pay attention to, right? We're probably not going to be telling you things that you never heard before, never thought of, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of this is probably going to be common sense thinking. But at least now you're thinking about it.
I'm hoping to do, John. I'm hoping to do. Another story just came to mind, and I'm going to throw this one out there. This is a good one.
Yeah.
There was a guy that went to church every Sunday, and he went this particular Sunday, and the Reverend told this story, this parable. Then he went the following Sunday, and the Reverend told the same parable.
Mm-hmm.
He went the following Sunday.
Yeah.
The same thing happened. The same story was retold with even more vigor. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the following week he went, and sure enough, yet again.
Same story.
So he thought, right, afterwards, the same story, the same sermon, the same parable, and I'm bringing in this in for a landing here. So he spoke to the vicar or the Reverend outside. He says, do you realize that you've told the same sermon, the same story, the same parable for the past 4 weeks? And the guy said, yes, I do. Mm-hmm. He says, is there a reason for that? He says, I'll keep telling this story till you hear it.
That's right.
Yeah. And like you just said, we're telling these people stuff that chances are they already know.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with a reminder. There's nothing wrong with bringing that to the surface again.
That's right. That's right. And sometimes when you go and watch a movie, we'll use a movie example, or maybe read a book, right? Yeah. When you read a book again that you read 15, 20 years ago, whatever it is, you're always going to find something about it. You're like, oh, shit, I never thought about it that way, right? There's always going to be something. You're always going to go, oh, that's pretty cool. I forgot all about that. Or, I never thought about it like that. Now that I've had a little bit more life experience and now I've had a little bit more references, throwback to Colin, now that I've had more references, now I'm looking at this thing again and it's as if I have a fresh new perspective, a fresh new set of eyes, and I'm seeing the same story, but I'm getting a different result. I'm getting a different
a more in-depth understanding.
Yeah.
A more in-depth understanding
out of it. Like, that's all we're suggesting.
It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. I'm going to throw another story out there. I think this one came from Napoleon Hill, and it's sort of in the same vein, in the same arena, ballpark. He said that when you read a book through the second time and the third time, you don't see something new in there.
Right.
You see something new in yourself that wasn't there before.
Right. Exactly. So that's all we're doing. That's it. I mean, we're not telling you new things. You probably already know all this stuff. And for the next whatever amount of videos that we're doing, you're probably going to know those too. But like Colin so rightly suggested, it brings it to the surface. It brings it to the front of your awareness so that you can be sure to pay attention to it. You can flag that email for future reference. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
So, yeah, there it is, folks. We're at 54 minutes. What do you think, Colin? I think we should go ahead and just call this one in.
I think you should remind people about Lucia and about the link.
Yep, good call. Why don't you do that? I did the first two.
Yes, right. Okay, so John has dropped the link in there for Lucia. They're trying to raise money, help Lucia pay for urgent brain surgery.
Yep.
The clue's in the word urgent brain surgery.
Very, very urgent.
Needs to be paid for,
very urgent.
and it needs to be paid for. So if you're going to have a takeaway, you know, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, you can afford to dip your hand in your pocket. It's for a good cause. We're not asking for ourselves.
No.
It's to pay for surgery. Thank you very much. John,
Yeah.
down to you.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, like on this little weekly broadcast thing, I don't make it a habit to ask for anything. I don't ask for tips. I don't ask for anything. If you notice, I've even disabled it along the top of the video. There's not a stream up there that says so much percentage to a goal, right? If you notice, it's not there. I've turned it off. Okay, not interested in. I mean, if you want to give the little coin things and do the high fives, whatever, bless you. That's awesome. I appreciate you. Go for it. You know, but I'm not asking you for it. That's the key. I'm not going to ask you for it. But today's broadcast, we are asking that you show your support for Lucia. Whether that support means sharing it, telling people about it, putting it in your broadcast, or reaching in your pocket and throwing a few bucks at it, whatever it is, right? Whatever your support is, that's all we're asking for, is to help you support Lucia, because, as Colin said, she is in an urgent medical need. It is urgent, folks. It's not a let's get to it next month thing. It's urgent. So thank you so much for coming to stop by. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, John Novakow. Thank you, Let It Be, for showing up in the comments section and being awesome and kind of interacting. Thank you to everybody else, and thank you to the people that hit the like button. We appreciate you, folks. I mean, we're going to keep doing it because there's a few of you out there that still like it. So
Exactly.
Thank you for coming. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much.